Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Well, hello, Raider fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Rocky Hidalgo Show, sponsored by Zaxby's, with two locations here in East Cobb. Tonight we're going to quickly review that Milton game, and then we're going to jump ahead to a very big game that the Raiders travel to Etowah for this Friday night. And maybe we'll talk about Halloween and some other things, Rocky, as we go along. But this last Friday night, went to Milton. Milton gets its first victory over the Walton Raider football program. But it had to be a disappointing, frustrating night for you, Rocky. A lot of us were watching the game on television, and Raiders fall behind 13-7, take a 14-13 lead at halftime. How did you feel going into halftime with the team and having that lead when you headed to the locker room at halftime?
We felt like we were moving the ball offensively. We were getting, we had made some mistakes. We had a personal foul that cost us at 2nd and 2, put us at 2nd and 17. We kind of wasted some opportunities there in the first half, but we were moving the football. We kind of came back. I thought we were playing good defense. They had kind of gotten the kickoff. They'd scored on the kickoff, and then the long play. And then we kind of really held down there.
Right. Yep.
So I felt like we were in good position coming out of the half. We took the ball down, scored a touchdown to go up. And, at that moment in the juncture in the game, I felt good about where we were and just things didn't work out for us.
One of the things we talked about last week was third quarter has been a bit of a problem for the team. You've had some great rallies in the fourth quarter. Things have been flat. Early in the third quarter, Raiders come out and take the 21-13 lead, and then frustratingly held to 21 points for the rest of the game, and Milton comes away with the 2 touchdowns, 28-21 to win that game. What did you tell your team on Friday night, and what have you been preaching this week in practice?
Well, one of the things we've talked about this week is, you got to believe. You have to believe that we have a chance to win these games. When we scripted out the season, we didn't think we were going to be 4-4, and sometimes bad things happen to you. Things go your way. I think if you look at this season, we've got virtually no turnovers defensively. The ball, people aren't putting the ball on the ground with us, and things just haven't. We've dropped, touchdown passes and things just haven't gone our way.
Yeah,
and sometimes you get like that. And what we've been telling our kids is eventually the ball is going to hit the ground. The ball is going to bounce our way. And when that happens, good things are going to happen. We've got to stay in and keep competing. We can win the next 2. We can get in the playoffs. Friday night, we just talked about that we have to go out in a game. We can't make stupid penalties. We can't jump off sides. We've got to go out, throw the ball, catch the ball, run the football, pick up blocks, and we're frustratingly for us, we're kind of still in the same boat we were 4 or 5 weeks ago. We're making a lot of the same mistakes, and as a coach, that's what's frustrating. We feel like we should be better than we are right now. I'll be the first one to tell you, I'll take the blame for that. I'm the head football coach, and I'm frustrated with myself.
Sure.
I think we could do a better job than we've done. We've worked hard this week. We've had 2 really good days of practice. I think our kids have responded. Anybody thinks that we're going to go stacking shoulder pads and helmets and the 2013 Raider season's over with, they're crazy. Our kids want to win, and I'm not going to say that we're going to win the next 2 games because they're tough games and good, but our kids are going to come out and they're going to play their tails off. We're going to coach our behinds off. We're going to go out and try to win those games, and we have an opportunity to win them.
So the Raiders are 4-4 in the season. They're 3-2 in the region. We're tied for 3rd place. We've talked about this before, Rocky. This isn't college football where style points and all that. This is a little bit more like the NFL, which is get in the tournament, be a hot team going into the tournament, and things turn around. So you've got 2 tough games, and we'll talk about the Etowah game. But talk about what it's like just kind of building that momentum into a tournament like the playoffs and then being able to sustain that for just a couple of weeks.
And that's what it is. It's, having done it a few times here as a head coach and as an assistant, it's hard. It's really hard. It's really about who wants to show up and practice another week.
Right.
Everybody's excited for that first round of the playoffs, and generally the best teams kind of win there. After that, it's all about who wants to show back up Monday and practice again until you get there at the state championship game. So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you have to sell your kids on, hey, we got to come back and sell them on the vision, the idea of being able to go in there and hoist a trophy and go and compete and have the opportunity to go out and play it. My favorite thing is have that Thanksgiving Day practice where we go out there and we practice, and the Touchdown Club provides breakfast for everybody, and we go, eat turkey and dressing. That's my favorite thing. That's why I want to get in the playoffs and get in those, obviously to win a state championship, but I love those Thanksgiving Day practices. They're always memorable. My family comes out to the practice field. It's just a neat experience for everybody. But I think you have to sell the kids on, or from our perspective, to go in there and sell them on. All those things are still possible. And we have shown, this football team's shown, when we play well and we do the things that, we're coached to do, and we play with great energy and we play together and pull in one direction, we can play and beat anybody in the state of Georgia.
Absolutely.
We've shown that with this team right here, and I still think that we're capable of that.
Well, we've talked about it a little bit before the show tonight. The North Cobb game stands out as an example that put together 48 minutes of football, this team can beat anybody. And we've had, as a team, some great moments in quarters. And 2 more games here to get things put together to really put the playoff run into motion. So this week, you travel to Etowah. They're 7-1. They've lost 1 game in the region. They let a game get away from them against Cherokee. This is a really good football team you're going to go play over in Cherokee County this Friday night, isn't it?
They're very good. They're offensively, they're really good. They're as good as anybody we played on offense. It's a different offense than Hillgrove or Peachtree Ridge and North Cobb. They're more similar to us. A big physical offensive line. Their quarterbacks, both backs in the backfield are exceptional. They can handle the ball well, and they've got the ability to take it to the house anytime they touch it. Defensively, they're a big physical defense. So it's interesting to go out and watch them on tape, because in a lot of ways, they're a mirror image of who we want to be. And
they've had some very tough games against us. They've beaten us here at home once or twice. I think actually in the playoffs one year. And sometimes it's easy to get wound up in, we're going to have the Wheeler game, we're going to have the Lassiter game, we're going to have the Roswell game. But then there's that Woodstock, Etowah, Cherokee side of the bracket that. Is it sometimes easy for some of your players just to kind of overlook it because it's not that neighborhood rivalry game?
It's easy for our kids to go up to Lassiter and Roswell and Wheeler. It is.
Right.
They know those, and they go to church with those guys in Young Life, and
right.
They see them in the community. But anybody who sleeps on Etowah's had a great football program for a decade.
Yep.
They've probably won 4 or 5 region championships over the last 10 years. So anybody who's sleeping on them is making a tremendous mistake. They've got their kids play hard. They've got really tough kids. They've got very good skill players on the offensive side of the ball. They run around, play hard-nosed defense, and they're well coached. Our kids, I don't think we're sleeping on them, especially in the position that we're in. I think we take the game very seriously, and we're going to show up and give a great effort.
Well, we're going to take a break and hear from Zaxby's, and then we're going to come back and talk about some of the other aspects of the Walton Raider football program, the JV team, the 9th grade team, and others. So right now, we're going to hear from Zaxby's, and we'll be right back for the Rocky Hidalgo Show.
Zaxby's, indescribably good.
Coach, we've been talking earlier that we've got a away game at Etowah and then a big home game here against Roswell, but a couple of other things have been going on as well. We focus on the Friday nights, and we focus on how important and how big a deal it is for a player, I don't care which sport it is, at Walton to play at Raider Valley. Mm-hmm. The JV team just wrapped up a 7-0 season, had a big victory against Lassiter last week. Talk a little bit about the state of the union of the program as it with a strong JV team, and then also what's going on with that youth program, which has grown just dramatically in the last few years.
And, I think if you look at our kids, our sophomore class is a very good group of kids, and I think if you'll see, I've been here 17 years. The most, I think the maximum amount of sophomores we've ever played is 2 or 3. We play 10 sophomores on Friday night. We start about 6 of them. And we're not doing that because they're not capable of playing, or because we've got we're weak at some spots. It's a talented group of kids.
Yep.
Our freshman class, I think, is a really talented group of kids that struggled early on in the season and played some really good football the last 4 weeks. I think they've got some kids. They've got 2 or 3 kids that have a chance to help us in a year. I think if you look at our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade groups, our 7th grade team is in the playoffs. I think I'll be surprised if they don't compete for the championship in that league.
Yeah, excellent.
Our 6th and 8th grade teams are talented groups. They're a big group of kids, and I think they'll develop into those teams that we've built around our football program here or there. If our 8th grade team is a very good-looking team, when you walk out there and look at them, it's a big group of kids from a number standpoint, a size standpoint. And then you get to our youth kids. When we started Nick Cavadelis, Derek Cook, and I started the Cobb Football League, I guess it's 4 years ago.
Right.
We had roughly 100 kids playing football from 1st to 5th grade. Now we have roughly 200 kids playing football down there. We have 4 5th grade teams, and Deuce, my son, plays on the K1 Raiders. There are 20 kids down there playing on the K1 Raiders, and I think they're 5-2 and about to hit the playoffs here in just a second. And so when you go down there, I go over to Fuller's Park, and there are 200 kids out there practicing. Or on Saturday, you come to our stadium, and at 8 o'clock, there are kids out there, and they play until 10 o'clock at night in Walton Raider uniforms. It's a neat thing to see all those kids. It's really good. You can see where the numbers are and the talent is in the program all the way down through 1st grade, even now.
It's kind of funny because when I remember my guys playing, I can remember I'll watch Billy Burns when he was in 5th and 6th grade, and we go, wow, he's going to be really good when he becomes a senior. And he was. Yeah. Chase Thomas was just a tall, skinny guy. Yeah. But obviously, it has to make you feel like the program is just building throughout, so that when you get the kids, really in about 10th grade, there's this feeling of what it means to be a Raider already.
It is, and that was the whole purpose of it. Is one of the reasons we started the program is so people could, we could market our brand to those younger kids. And it's interesting when I go over to, All Pro Dads at Eastside, or I go eat lunch with my son or my daughter over at Eastside. There are kids over there. They're in their Walton Youth football shirts, their jerseys.
There you go.
I walk in the place and they're like, "Hey, Coach," I see people in the community, and they've got an 8-year-old kid, and they're like, "Hey, Coach Hidalgo," and that is something that's changed from 3 or 4 years ago. That they feel a part of our program. They come to the games, they get in free, they're running around on the sideline. At our junior Raider night, they're out on the field high-fiving the teams. It's a big part of what we want to do here. Just a bit beyond having a football team is having a football program, and that sense of community that's around our program. And I think you see that, just kind of the number of people who run around with those Walton football decals on their cars here in East Cobb.
That's excellent. So we're having the show on a Tuesday because this week is a busy week. My son plays at Navy tomorrow, so I was going to see that. And then you've got Halloween, and I almost thought, well, we can do this on Thursday. And then my wife looked at me and said, why don't you give Rocky's wife a call about that? So what is Halloween night like in the Hidalgo household?
Oh, I probably can't tell all the secrets here.
Well, that's all right.
But what we do is, our neighborhood, we live over in Independence Square. Our neighborhood has a big Halloween party in one of the cul-de-sacs there, and the kids all get in their costumes, and the dads kind of get the kids, and we walk them around the neighborhood. I think Deuce is going to be Batman for about the 4th year straight here.
That's a good look.
Deuce likes Batman. Lily's going to be a nerd, and Cooper is going to be one of the Wild Things, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So we'll trudge them around and trudge them around East Cobb, and kind of all the moms will get back together at somebody's house, and everybody go for hot chocolate and cookies, and they'll put a horror movie on, and the kids will sift through their candy and get a sugar high, and we'll put them to bed about 10 o'clock, and hopefully there'll be some Almond Joys in the basket.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you start sifting through the bag about 10 o'clock?
All the Almond Joys are mine. That's the way it works.
Well, it's funny you talk about Deuce being Batman. Adam's phone ringtone is Batman from when he was a little guy. So before we break up, we've got a favor to ask you from our executive producer and I guess owner of Raider Vision, Pete English. But we need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel that you watch the Rocky Show on, and any of our Raider Vision broadcasts. Click on it and subscribe. There's a red button below the window that you watch the YouTube film on. Click on that red button, subscribe, and with enough subscribers, we can get a much better streaming and really continue to upgrade the overall viewing quality, because gosh knows Rocky and I aren't going to get any better looking, and the better quality we could get, we could definitely use that kind of enhancing to our broadcast. But big night for the Raiders, traveling to Etowah. Okay, now I've said this before about the Woodstock game. Go over, have a nice dinner over there near the high school. Traffic is tough over there on a Friday night. If you leave Walton High School at 6:30, you might get there in time to see the halftime performances of the band. So go have dinner before that Etowah game. Get into stands early, support the Raiders. We'll talk about that Raider win on Monday night as they get ready then for the Roswell Hornets. But once again, I'm Kurt Schreiner. This has been the Rocky Hidalgo Show, sponsored by Zaxby's. Hey, we'll see you next week to talk about the Etowah game and that preview for that Roswell game.